Today, on Guess What I Found Out, we are going to settle something you have looked at every single day of your life and never once questioned. Your eye color. And, well, I have to warn you up front. Half of what you think your eye color is, it isn't. Some of you do not even have the pigment you think you have. Your eyes are lying to you in the nicest possible way, and I am about to expose the whole operation. Here is the big secret, and everything else hangs off it. Your iris is basically a tinted window, so let's just call it the window tint. And like any good window tint, the color you see is not always paint. Sometimes it is paint, which is the pigment melanin. And sometimes it is a trick of the light, the same trick that makes the daytime sky look blue. Once you know which eyes are paint and which eyes are special effects, the entire rainbow of human eyes suddenly makes sense. So settle in, Curious George. Let's start with the most common eyes on Earth, brown. Brown is honest. Brown is paint. The front of a brown iris is packed with melanin, the same pigment in your skin and hair, and that melanin soaks up incoming light like dark-stained glass. More melanin, more absorption, darker eye. And because all that pigment is just sitting there absorbing, brown eyes look basically the same whether you are at a beach or in a parking garage. Rock solid. Originally, every human on the planet had brown eyes. All of us. The whole family portrait was brown. Now, if you crank the melanin all the way up to maximum, you get eyes that people casually call black. But they're not actually black. They're just extremely dark brown, so saturated with pigment that the iris seems to blend right into the pupil and, honestly, refuses to show off its inner structure. It's basically brown, with the volume turned up so high that all the detail just disappears. But here's where it gets a bit sneaky, because now we turn the melanin down, and, well, blue eyes walk in. And blue eyes are frauds. Beautiful frauds, I'll give you that. There is no blue pigment in a blue eye. None at all. When melanin in the front layer drops low enough, the tissue starts scattering light, and short blue wavelengths bounce back to your eyes, just the same way they do off the sky. So, a blue iris isn't actually colored blue. It's staged blue. It's like a tiny daily sunset happening right in someone's face. And, you know, blue eyes have the best origin story of the bunch. Every blue-eyed person you have ever met traces back to one ancestor. Just one. Somewhere between roughly 6,000 and 10,000 years ago, probably near the Black Sea, a single person was born with a tweak not in the pigment gene itself, but in a nearby switch, a gene called HER2 that quietly turns down its neighbor, OCA2. That switch dialed down the brown, the scattering took over, and blue eyes were born. From that one individual, the trait spread to hundreds of millions of people. So if you have blue eyes, you are not just rare, you are basically a sequel to one prehistoric original. If you are enjoying finding out that a chunk of humanity is walking around with optical illusions for eyes, do me a favor and subscribe to Guess What I Found Out, because we do this 3 times a week and your brain deserves the upgrade. Grey eyes are blue's moody cousin. Even less melanin, plus a different internal structure that scatters light in a flatter, more silvery way, so the colour shifts with whatever is around it. Steel 1 minute, soft slate the next, faintly blue when the light is kind. They are concentrated way up in the far north, in places like Scandinavia and the Baltics, which fits the patterned dim, overcast skies, not much sun to defend against, so the tint stays light. Then there is green, the rarest of the common colours. Only about 2% of people, actually. Green is the trickiest tint to mix because, well, it needs a very specific recipe. low melanin, a touch of a warm golden pigment, and just the right amount of light scattering. If you nudge any one of those, green collapses into blue, hazel, or brown. Green is nature successfully threading a needle, which is exactly why so few people have it. Then we get the shapeshifters. Hazel eyes are not one colour. They're uneven melanin spread across the iris like a landscape, so different light hits different patches, and your eye reads gold here, green there, brown in the middle. The eye isn't actually changing. The lighting is changing which part you notice. And amber eyes go full warm gold, driven by that golden pigment with very little dark melanin. The same chemistry that gives wolves and hawks those striking yellow stares. Why amber stuck around in humans, nobody is sure. One idea is plain genetic luck in small isolated populations, which is a polite way of saying, sometimes evolution just rolls the dice and you get gold eyes. Now I have to stop and say the thing, because this is the moment the whole topic usually goes off the rails. None of this, not one shade, tells you a single thing about someone's personality. Blue does not mean shy. Brown does not mean trustworthy. Green does not mean mysterious. Big studies have looked repeatedly and found no reliable link between eye colour and character. The same goes for the blood-type personality craze that millions of people still believe, which has also flopped every serious test. So, here is what I actually want from you in the comments. And, well, I want your reasoning, not just a vote. Why do you think humans are so desperate to read personality into eye colour, when the evidence keeps saying there is nothing there? Is it harmless fun, or does it quietly do harm? Make your case below. And do not feel left out if your window tint is doing something dramatic. Some people have two different coloured eyes, or a wedge of one colour inside the other. That is heterochromia, and it comes from the pigment instructions for the two eyes simply not matching, whether from genetics, development, injury or illness. It is rare, usually harmless, and honestly, undeniably striking. The one rule worth knowing, straight from eye doctors, if your eye colour changes in adulthood, get it checked, because a sudden shift can be a signal, not a style choice. So, step back and look at the whole gallery. Brown and black are honest paint, built to shield sensitive eyes under fierce sun. Blue and grey are light tricks, low on pigment, born in dimmer northern worlds. Green, hazel and amber are the in-between artists, balancing pigment and scattering on a knife's edge. None of them is better. None of them is a personality. Each one is just a record of which ancestors lived under which sky, captured in a layer of tissue thinner than a millimetre. Your eye colour is not a label. It is human history caught by light. If your own eyes just got a little more interesting to you, hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so the next deep dive lands right in front of you. See you there, Curious George.